Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of exercising for the intention of fat loss. And I know the word fat can be a little bit triggering for some people, but the only reason I call it fat loss is because that's the weight that we're talking about that is, the desirable thing to change. The word weight loss just isn't specific enough. So that is why we call it fat loss rather than just weight loss, right? Because you don't want to lose just water. You don't want to lose a whole bunch of muscle and retain all your fat, right? Like, it's not what you're after. What people mean when they say weight loss, 90% of the time, probably 99% of the time, is fat loss. So, I wanted to talk about the intention of training or working out for that express purpose. Um, and if you've ever watched any of my content around training ideas, you'll know that it's my belief that training for fat loss or exercising to lose weight is rather inefficient, meaning the mindset of I just got to work out to lose the weight is going to get you spinning your wheels really, really soon. So that's a whole different conversation. And so within this context, we are talking about the idea or the intention of training for fat loss with the knowledge that we already have that exercise is but a supplement to all the other things that you do for weight loss relative to nutrition and lifestyle, right? So, with all of those other things being equal, here are some of my ideas around training for fat loss. One other adage to that, intention. So all exercise should have intention. So when you're doing a movement or if you're doing something exercise related, whether it's with your personal trainer, at the gym by yourself or in a group fitness class, you should really have the intention of literally why you're doing each exercise. Not only that, but why are you doing an exercise at a specific tempo, why you're resting X amount of time between each set or what have you. All of those things should be part of your knowledge base so that you can be empowered to know that you're doing the right thing. So intention is number one, kind of as a broader idea. So, okay. So exercise for fat loss. Resistance training is definitely king/queen. It is the best thing for you to do, broadly speaking, but for weight loss as well, or for fat loss as well, because people don't want to just lose fat. They also want to see their muscles, and this is what most people call being toned. And here I'm gonna push the envelope a little bit here with some gender stereotypes, but usually men want to get ripped and women want to get toned. And again, what they're saying is they want to see the muscles that's under the fat, right? So really the greatest way to do this is to lift weights and overcome the resistance with that. So resistance is the absolute best thing you can do to get the type of body that you want to see. And you want to do that type of training with an amount of intensity that might be different than if you were going for mainly strength, okay? Strength of all levels, not just absolute strength, but relative strength and things around that too. So, and what I mean by intensity in this context is not necessarily how much weight you're lifting, but it is about how much you're resting between sets. So one, you're gonna wanna find yourself using barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells, all of your classic sort of weight training equipment. Is going to be something you want to implement, right? So in addition to utilizing traditional sort of weightlifting, you want to increase the intensity by reducing the amount of rest that you're taking between exercises. But this has the express intent of it still being sustainable. And what I mean by that is you might do 20 push-ups, rest 10 seconds, 15 air squats, rest 10 seconds, and then 5 pull-ups, rest 2 minutes before you go out and do it again. So the resting between the exercises back to back is very short, but then after the set is complete, you're going to rest a more substantial amount of time to recover you for another effort. So this is an intentional shortening of rest. It's an intentional, inappropriate or not long enough rest between exercises just to keep the heart rate up a little bit more around that idea of intensity. But with you resting more after the last exercise in the set, you should be able to keep that exact same intensity going throughout whatever number of sets you have. What I don't advise is doing rounds and sets as fast as you can, no rest between exercises, and then just, resting as you need to because you can't output, the same amount of energy. That is exercise without an intent, and it's sort of just going a little bit crazy. And you're not going to be able to control to progress going forward. So far we have resistance training and doing that a little bit quickly with short rest periods, but enough rest between sets to make sure that you can maintain the exact same integrity of what the prescription is calling for. So make sure that each time your sort of perceived exertion is relatively the same. So if I worked an 8 out of 10 on set 1, I want to be working an 8 out of 10 on set 5. You want to be able to manage using the same loads across the sets, the same tempo across the sets, the same rest periods across the sets. So you got to be really careful in terms of how you sort of use this prescription, because it can be very easy to step across that ledge or to step across that line of, okay, now I've exploded and I really can't put the genie back in the bottle, as it were, right? So make it sustainable. So resistance training. Increase the intensity within that. Do those exercises back to back. I also think for weight loss, for fat loss, compound exercises, meaning multi-joint exercise, deadlift, squat, press, lunge, step up. These are the best bang for your buck training tools, because they are going to elicit a response that the body is going to favor and create really great adaptations towards. And it's more fun. Compound movements make your training really exciting to do, okay? So doing a push press, the barbell across your shoulders, weight on the end, the dynamic action of dipping and driving through your hips, that is really fun and exciting, as opposed to, a tricep push down with a cable, right? Not knocking that, but I'm just saying, it's a lot more fun and exciting. So it keeps you entertained, which I've in the past said it's not a great, quality of a workout if that's what you're looking for, but it is in this case. And then compound or multi-joint movements also, obviously, it's working your entire body. So yeah, to stick with the example of an overhead press, sure, you're using mainly your shoulders and your triceps, but you're also having to really brace your core, squeeze your butt, make sure everything's in alignment. So you're going to get, really, really tired, and a great stimulus off of that in and of itself, right? So that's fantastic for us to do. Resistance training, shorten the rest periods, make sure you're using multi-joint exercises. And I guess the last one for now, because I'll continue this in another video, would be to do less. So I believe this because you want to do the smallest amount of work for the greatest return possible. So these really long and drawn out exercises, and this idea of the more I exercise, the better results I'll get, you start to lose the return on that investment pretty quickly. In fact, I have a whole video on why exercise isn't the greatest idea for losing weight. And it's because the body just does a great job of adapting to whatever energy sort of imbalance you're trying to impose upon it. So utilize the exercise, your training program, as a really potent dose that doesn't stretch beyond, a reasonable time frame for training. So, if you're one of those kinds of people who exercises for 3 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, you will find that there's a sort of a critical drop off in terms of the results. So do less and focus more on other things that you're not really keyed into or dialed into. And for some people, you might notice that they do all this exercising, this shitload of extra work, just to kind of distract themselves from the fact that sleep is out of order, recovery is out of order, you're not paying attention to your nutrition as much as you should, and then you're overcompensating for all this additional exercising, right? So you do a shitload of extra stuff and you kind of feel justified then in doing all the other shit. You'll find yourself really truly frustrated, and then you'll look back and all that work, all that training, all that exercise was just a distraction to what will eventually have to be addressed. And nobody can get away with not addressing the true things that help with fat loss, which are pretty much sleep and nutrition and management of stress. And you got to get those guys down before you even care about what your training program looks like. So with Satellite Fitness, that's why we're popular. That's why we have the results that we do. And that's why we have our clients stay with us long term, is because they get truth and honesty within, the prescription that we give. We don't like to use gimmicks or really quick marketing techniques to say, hey, in 4 weeks, you're going to be 10% body fat. We just know the reality around it, and we love to help people shift that focus and that perspective to what are the things they need to do that not only are going to end up reducing my total body fat, but actually improving my life for the long term. So in a lot of ways, less exercise is better than more, okay? And mainly because it forces you to lock on to the things that are truly, truly important. All right, we'll continue this discussion another time. I hope you've made it all the way through. And if you did, I'm running a introductory rate for my flagship program called Fit and Fierce. I've been coaching people remotely for the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm ready to help you. So all you have to do is message me, just say hi, and we'll get a conversation started. All right, have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.